Stratocaster you can do a lot of stuff with. You can do anything from Jimi Hendrix to Wes Montgomery. I thought I'd show you a little bit of like a Hendrix kind of typical blues rock style right now. This is pretty much what you would find here. That's pretty much like a Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, any kind of blues rock Stratocaster sound. Typically, it's use the front pickup, with that kind of, you can see that hollow thing, and you can kind of wedge them in between on these old ones to get that really kind of sweet in and out of phase sound. Then you can use your middle and it's a little more aggressive sounding. Then you go right to the back pickup here, which is even the most aggressive, brightest of them all. And you can, again, you can wedge it in between the middle and the back pickup as well. Actually pretty good for country stuff too. So what you have there is that's basically the sounds, the stock sounds of a Stratocaster. What I like to do is show everybody how to use the tone pots a little bit to create some different tones. If you put the switch up front and you use the front pickup and you roll your tone control on that down, you can get a early Clapton cream sound if you switch the amps a little bit here, and it gives you kind of a really kind of warm soaring lead sound. And you can roll it off even further. It kind of gives you that real hollow woman sound, I'll show you more on the Gibson guitar later. But it's a good thing. And also if you switch to a cleaner amp, you can do like those Wes Montgomery kind of octaves. So it's very versatile, just having that one tone pot, just active on this front pickup. Switching to the lead, obviously everybody knows that you can just leave it straight and wide open. It gives you a kind of a bright sound. But for soloing, I find it's good to hook up the tone pot to this switch that works with the lead pickup, because on a stock Strat you have this tone pot that works for this pickup and this tone pot works for that one. So I modify the guitar just slightly and make it useful on the lead pickup, which I think is probably more advantageous. Anybody following along at home wants to do it. All it is if you open up the guitar and look at where the white wire on the tone control is connected to the switch, and move it one to the left. That's all I know. It's just one to the left, and you'll find that the lead pickup and the tone pot you can actually get some very interesting little different sounds. Just switch some amps up and. What you can do is you can get kind of an Eric Johnson violin sound out of it. It's also, make it sound like a P90. It's great for power chords if you're using kind of a cleaner thing like this. Really fattens up and really makes the Strat more versatile. It's really it's a good thing. It's also, if you use like kind of a half distorted plexi sound, you kind of get that really, you know, kind of soaring Jimi Hendrix thing going. So the tone control is really very versatile. Another thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the tremolo technique. I showed you how it's set up with the 3 springs. So having the 3 springs gives you a lot of options. It gives you a lot of options to kind of do a lot of things, because it's very kind of sensitive. So you get stuff like, you know, if you're just playing chords. Just kind of bending it slow and letting the tremolo kind of do the work, really. So what you have there is, you know, just that's a kind of a minimal use of the tremolo bar. And it's really important too to have the setup correct, because as you probably know, messing around with a Stratocaster, probably the tuning somewhat gets a little bit tricky if you don't have them set properly. Some of the more aggressive, you know, tremolo stuff, you kind of switch amps and you kind of get some of that Jeff Beck stuff going on. You know, and it's basically what it is just holding on to the tremolo and just kind of bending notes, you know, up to notes or down to notes, you know. All right, that little trick was having a little play in the tremolo. It kind of gives you the bend up. Having that option on the tremolo and having it set up properly. Also, you don't want them too tight, because especially on the old ones, and I know this firsthand, as of about a week ago, I had a really nice old tremolo bar that I was just kind of playing a show, and all of a sudden it came off in my hand and when the piece was broken inside. So you want to be careful with the old ones, because you can't replace that. But you make sure your bar is good, and make sure, you know, a little Teflon tape inside the cavity wrapped around the bar makes a nice, you know, a tight seal. So what will happen is you know, there's no play, so you're not going to break it off while you're doing that. One thing I want to talk about, especially on a Stratocaster, just using a pick. If you're just, you know, using a pick, not your hands, is how you vary your sound just by using a pick on a different place on the guitar. You know, example, you know, just playing an E chord, just for simplicity's sake. Kind of have a nice warm sound right here by the neck, and then if you pick down by the bridge. Okay, having that difference right there, and especially when you're soloing, and you know, you can bring out brighter notes and, you know, and warm things up just by, you know, how the room sounds, how your amp sounds, and basically what you're going for. So just take a phrase here. Just taking something like that, I played in 3 different places on the, on the guitar. I played really close to the neck, kind of gives you that kind of woofy, bassy, Stevie Ray, you know, Hendrixy. And then for some of the soloing stuff, I was kind of picking like in the middle, which kind of starts getting a little brighter. Okay, and then towards the end, I was picking down by the bridge. So what it is, and it just kind of draws out the sound and just what what you're looking for. It's really percussive or really bright or somewhere in the middle. Just depends on where you use your pick and how you do it. So that's a good trick to know, especially on a Stratocaster, because there's a lot of different sounds you can get just by varying where you pick on the guitar. The last thing I want to talk about as far as the Stratocaster is concerned is the most commonly asked question I get is how do you make the guitar sound like a violin? All right, so it's a very easy trick. It's probably the easiest thing I do here. And everybody goes, what pedal are you using? Well, you can check out the Line 6. They have the nice swell. Okay, well that's the pedal, but the real technique to get the violin solo sound really kind of lies right here in your little finger and your volume control. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit, and then I'll tell you how I do it. So we have a song called Blues Deluxe. It's kind of prevalent in that, so I'll kind of play some of that stuff here. Okay, there it is. Hold for applause. Anyway, it's very simple. You use a couple of things. One, if we had a reverb here, which we will have eventually today, you use a little bit of reverb. Use your delay. Okay, delay. You just want like a normal kind of slap back. 2, 3 repeats. That's kind of how I set my delay just in general for any kind of setting. The other thing is what you do is then you start at 0 on your volume pot. Start at 0, and you don't wrap your whole little finger around it because it's too much play, but wrap some of it around, kind of like so. And then when you pick, the up and down motion of your hand just automatically starts moving the volume control, so you get stuff like the. As you start getting better at it, you can be more expressive. You can kind of vary the speed in which you do it. It's also good for really expressive, like high note. Really good for chords, really good for stuff like that. And it's a really simple trick. Once you learn how to just, almost marry your little finger to your picking hand and have it just follow every move that you make, while you're picking and stuff like that. And then you can kind of vary it up and be expressive with it. It really is a cool trick to have, and it really works great in like kind of those big old theaters. It really does sound like a violin, and you'll have everybody asking you, how do you make it sound like a violin? So that's it. Pretty much that's my theories on how Stratocasters vary, and a few little tricks. There's a few little tricks you can do with a Stratocaster. There's the behind the nut stuff. On this particular guitar, you actually get some good variants, like on the G, play like a harmonic. There's that classic Stevie Ray Vaughan, like behind the thing harmonic. So you can be very expressive with the Stratocaster. It's a very useful guitar, and varying the amps a little bit too is good. You want to have an amp that's kind of clean. Take advantage of that. One that's kind of semi-distorted. And then like a full-on solo sound. And that's all done by varying different amplifiers, and we'll go through the setups later, you know, how in the settings and stuff like that. But it's good to have those three options with a Stratocaster because you can get a lot of different sounds out of them and make it sound like a Gibson, make it sound like you know a jazz box or just a plain old Stratocaster.